Don't pay the ransom. I escaped. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Bexar County Court at Law number 6. I'm Judge Wayne Christian. We have our plea docket today. Representing the state in all matters will be Mr. Eddie Villarreal and Mr. Arthur Reed. I think we have Ms. Susan Gross here to brief everybody on probation issues. And the docket I have for today, we reset Mr. Martinez Acosta. Is that correct, Pat?
Yes, Your Honor. He was able to contact his client.
Good. Cause number 665-771, State of Texas versus Robert Aguilar Guerrero, represented by Mr. Ivan Barrera. Mr. Barrera, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cause number 677-766, State of Texas versus Ivan Favela, represented by Mr. Oscar Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez, are you ready to proceed? Is Oscar with us?
Your Honor, he is. Mr. Favela is just in, and he has not signed the paperwork.
Okay. Cause number 677-660, State of Texas versus Emerson Smith, represented by Ms. Kristen Dow. Kristen, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cause number 662578, State of Texas versus Margarita Salas, represented by Mr. Rene Munoz. Mr. Munoz, are you ready to proceed? We got Rene with us?
He was on, Your Honor.
We'll come back. How about cause 671-309, State of Texas versus Dolores Lideke, represented by Mr. Frank Sandoval. Mr. Sandoval, are you ready to proceed? I'm not doing well today.
Your Honor, he was on.
We'll come back to him also. Cause number 666493, State of Texas versus Lorena Trevino, represented by Miss Linda Corley. Miss Corley, are you ready to proceed?
He is in another court, Your Honor. I just got an email.
Okay. Cause number 626306, State of Texas versus Ricardo Leckler, represented by Mr. Kevin Stryker. Mr. Stryker, are you ready to proceed?
Ready to proceed, Your Honor. Thank you.
And cause number 649540, and I think we're going to TIC 616441, State of Texas versus Jonathan Huerta, representative Mr. David Cuellar. Mr. Cuellar, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, we are, Your Honor.
All right, so we're ready on Mr. Aguilar, and it's a Spanish speaker. Let's start with him, and then we'll start doing our mass plea exodus. Let me get my interpretation button pushed.
Judge, may I give my spiel while you're doing that?
That would be a wonderful idea. Thank you, Sue.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Officer Gross with Bexar County Adult Probation. Just a few questions and instructions for those of you that are placed on probation today. You will be receiving communication from the probation department probably within the next, well, being that tomorrow's a holiday. If you have not heard from the probation department by next Wednesday morning when you wake up, then you need to call the number that is listed in the chat for everyone. That number is 210-335-7446. Let them know that you were placed on probation today and that you need an orientation appointment. It is your responsibility to go to the probation department and sign your paperwork. Failure to do so could result in the judge issuing a warrant for your arrest. So it is very important that you go and sign your paperwork with the probation department. Now, a couple of housekeeping things. Prior to you pleading to the judge this morning, if you currently reside outside of Bexar County, outside of the state of Texas, or if you intend on residing outside of Bexar County or the state of Texas, you need to let the judge know prior to your plea so that he can adjudicate you accordingly and assign the proper way of reporting. Okay. So first question, does anybody currently reside outside of Bexar or Texas?
Yeah, this is Attorney Kevin Stryker for Ricardo Leckler. He resides in Eagle Pass, so we're going to have the the probation transferred to Eagle Pass, Texas, and we've informed the court before. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. What the judge will probably do is keep his probation here and he'll probably report by Zoom. Okay.
That's okay too. Thank you.
All right. Any probation related questions for anyone? All right, I'll hang around if anyone has any additional questions. Otherwise, good luck, everyone.
Okay, thank you. You betcha. This is cause number 665-771, State of Texas versus Robert Aguilar Guerrero, represented by Mr. Ivan Barrera. And Mr. Guerrero is a Spanish speaker, and we have Miss Carmen Tarragona Saez that's going to translate for us, and that is all set up. So the first document I'm looking at is in English, and it is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference that allegedly has a signature both of Mr. Guerrero and Mr. Barrera. Mr. Guerrero, is this your signature on this English document, sir?
Perdón.
Is this your signature on the document that is titled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference?
Sí.
Thank you. Mr. Barrera, as attorney for Mr. Guerrero, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next, I have two documents, one in English and one in Spanish, entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions that purport to have Mr. Guerrero's signature on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights he must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Guerrero, is this your signature on both of these documents, one in English and one in Spanish?
Sí.
Thank you, sir. By signing these documents, are you telling me that you've had enough time to either read these documents or have them read to you in their entirety? If you had any questions about what was on these documents, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorney, Mr. Barrera, so that in signing these documents, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on these documents. Is that correct, Mr. Guerrero?
Sí.
Thank you. Mr. Barrera, as attorney for Mr. Guerrero, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
I have, and he is.
Thank you. Mr. Guerrero, are you a United States citizen, sir?
No.
Mr. Guerrero, if you are not a citizen of the United States of America, a plea of guilty or nolo contendere for the offense charged may result in your deportation, your exclusion from admission to this country, or the denial of naturalization under federal law. Mr. Guerrero, have you talked to your attorney and discussed with him and been made aware of the mentioned consequences? And are you now knowingly wanting to enter a plea to this offense?
Sí.
And Mr. Barrera, as attorney for Mr. Guerrero, have you had the ability to discuss with him the possible problems he may encounter with regard to his immigration status if he enters a plea to this crime?
Judge, I did not, but I did have him speak to an immigration attorney. He did have a discussion about the immigration consequences, and he is comfortable with proceeding with the plea.
Okay. And after Mr. Guerrero met with the immigration attorneys, did he indicate to you that he was willing to go forward on the plea bargain that you have arranged with the state today?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Barrera, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
State's complied.
Thank you. Let's see what y'all have arranged with the state on Mr. Guerrero. Okay, state, you have a motion, it would appear.
Yes, Judge. The state moves to waive the second enhancement and proceed on DWI first.
Objection from the defense, that will be granted. Excuse me. Therefore, Mr. Guerrero, in cause number 665-771 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense, how do you plead, sir?
Culpable.
And my paperwork says no contest. I don't think it makes a difference to either the court or the state. Mr. Barrera, how would you like your defendant to plead?
No contest, Your Honor.
Is that okay with you, state?
That's okay with the state, Your Honor.
All good. And the court accepts the plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. Is there an agreement?
There is an agreement, Your Honor. It's for 180 days in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 16 months, an $850 fine plus court costs, 48 hours of community service, DWI intervention, victim impact panel, CAT-SNP, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, and regular UAs.
And Mr. Burr, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
Mr. Guerrero, in cause 665-771, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. I find you guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 16 months, an $850 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI intervention program, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety new intervention program, Smart Start mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day for a period of 8 months, which is 1/2 the term of probation, and regular urinalysis tests. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Guerrero?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
Good luck, Mr. Guerrero. Thank you, Mr. Barrera. Y'all are excused.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, let me try my hit list one more time. Have we heard from Mr. Hernandez reference Miss Favila or Mr. Favila?
Your Honor, they are in a breakout room so that he can help him fill out the paperwork.
All right, so they're not ready at this time.
Not at this point.
And Ms. Dow, Mr. Emerson, and Mr.
Yes.
Smith are ready. Mr. Munoz, are you ready on Mr. Sal or Miss Salas? Excuse me. Renee, are you with us? I can see you.
Yes. Good morning.
Are y'all ready, Renee?
Yes, sir. That's
All right,
correct.
thank you, sir. And have we got Frank Sandoval back yet? I didn't wave it at me. Frank, can you hear me?
Make sure you're. I can, Judge.
All right, are you ready to proceed on Ms. Lidecky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And have we got Ms. Corley back yet?
No, Your Honor, she's in another court.
And we've got Mr. Stryker, and he's ready on Mr. Leckler, and we've got Mr. Cuellar, and he's ready on Mr. Huerta. So I have a plan. Okay, it's going to be cause number 677-660, State of Texas versus Emerson M. Smith, represented by Ms. Kristen Dow. Cause 662-578, State of Texas versus Margarita Salas, represented by Mr. Rene Munoz. Cause number 671-309, State of Texas versus Dolores M. Lidecky, represented by Mr. Frank Sandoval. Cause number 626-306, State of Texas versus Ricardo Leckler, represented by Mr. Kevin Stryker. And cause number 649-540, State of Texas versus Jonathan Huerta, represented by Mr. David Cuellar. Ladies and gentlemen, the first document I'm looking at on each of your cases is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plead by Video Conference, that purports to have both the defendant and the attorney's signature on it. In fact, Mr. Smith, in cause 677-660, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Your Honor, that's a female, and she's still on mute. Emerson, if you can unmute, please.
Yes, that's mine, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And also, Ms. Dow, is that your signature as attorney for Ms. Smith?
Yes, Your Honor.
And in cause 662-578, Ms. Salas, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Munoz, as attorney for Ms. Salas, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Judge.
Thank you. Ms. Lidecky, in cause 671-309, is this your signature on this document, ma'am? Heidi,
You did.
can you hear us, ma'am?
I can hear y'all. Can you hear me?
Barely. Can you turn your camera on? Is that possible?
I've been trying and I'm scared that I'll hang up, but I've been trying.
Okay, don't worry about it. That's fine. Mr. Sandoval, can you confirm that that's Miss Leideke's voice and not some imposter trying to get in our criminal justice system without permission?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Ms. Leideke. And Mr. Sandoval, as attorney for Ms. Leideke, is that your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Leckler, in cause 626-306, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Stryker, as attorney for Mr. Leckler, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Huerta, in cause 649-540, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Cuellar, as attorney for Mr. Huerta, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next document I have for everybody is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions that purports to have your signatures on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Smith, Ms. Smith, in cause 677-660, is this your signature on this document also, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Ms. Salas, in cause 662-578, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Ms. Leideke, in cause 671-309, is this your signature on this document?
Yes.
Ms. Leideke, can you hear us, ma'am?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, thank you so much. And Mr. Leckler, in cause 626-306, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
And thank you. Mr. Huerta, in cause 649-540, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. By signing these documents, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read these documents or have them read to you in their entirety? If you had any questions about what was on these documents, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys, so that in signing these documents, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on these documents. Is that correct, Ms. Smith?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is that correct, Ms. Salas?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is that correct, Ms. Leideke?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Leckler?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And is that correct, Mr. Huerta?
Yes, sir.
As attorney for Ms. Smith, Ms. Dow, have you had enough time to go over this case with her? And in your opinion, is she mentally competent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Munoz, as attorney for Ms. Salas.
I have, in my opinion, she is mentally competent.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Sandoval, as attorney for Ms. Leideke.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Stryker, as attorney for Mr. Leckler.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Cuellar, as attorney for Mr. Huerta.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Smith, are you a United States citizen, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Salas, same question, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Leideke, same question, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Leckler, same question, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Huerta, same question, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Dow, as attorney for Ms. Smith, does the state fully comply with discovery for you on this case?
Yes, as far as I know.
Thank you. Mr. Munoz, same question with regard to Ms. Salas.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Sandoval, same question with regard to Ms. Leideke.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Stryker, same question with regard to Mr. Leckler.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Cuellar, same question with regard to Mr. Huerta.
Yes, they have, Your Honor.
Okay. Let's see what we're doing. State, you got a motion on Ms. Smith's case, it would appear.
Yes, Judge. The state moves to waive the greater than 0.15 enhancement.
No objection from the defense, that will be granted.
No objection.
Okay. And that's going to make it a DWI first. Therefore, Ms. Smith, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, ma'am?
No contest, Your Honor.
And is there an agreement for Ms. Smith?
Yes, Judge. The agreement is 180 days over 14 months probation, $600 fine, court costs, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CAT-SNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
And Ms. Dow, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor, and if I may speak to a few of those terms.
Sure.
One, if it helps, if we're able to reduce the length of probation at all, she is able to pay everything in full today. So that would be the first request. And then she did already complete 8.5 hours of community service, and I believe those are in your email box. If you could please give her credit for those hours. And then on the Smart Start device, I was wondering if you could give credit for the 2 months that she's had it since she's been on bond.
Number one, you got a plea bargain with the state. I don't have the authority to interfere with the plea bargain without busting it.
Okay.
So as far as shortening the length of probation, unless the state were to give me permission, I don't have that authority. State, do I have permission to shorten this probation period? You just got it at 14 months currently, I believe.
Your Honor, respectfully, no.
All right. Ms. Dow, I don't have any authority to do anything on that. Number two is she certainly gets credit for anything she's done proactively. So just show her probation officer the fact that she's done 8.5 hours of approved community service, and she gets credit for that.
Judge, if I may?
Yeah.
Those hours were sent to me as well as you. And just to inform the court, those hours were worked at the food bank. And I know that you don't allow that. So I just wanted to inform the court, and moving forward, no more food bank.
Yes, do no more food bank, but she certainly gets credit for what she's already done. No problem. Now, did she donate money or she actually worked there, Susan? That's another question.
It appears that she actually worked there.
All right, well, that's different. I don't want to give money to the food bank because they have other charities, but she can certainly work at the food bank if she wants to. That is not a problem.
Okay.
So if she wants to continue doing that, that's all good.
All right. And Ms. Smith, once you actually get assigned an officer, take those documents and give them to your officer so that they can give you retroactive credit. Okay. Right now, I can't do anything with those documents because you're not in our system.
Okay, thank you.
And then Kristen, do you have another question? I missed it.
On the Smart Start device, if we could get credit for while she was on bond that she had the
I'm sorry.
device.
No, I mean, she gets credit for it, but it doesn't account on this probation. She starts over from the day that she pleads in, which is today.
Okay.
So my understanding is it would be half of the current term, which is 14 months. So half of that would be 7 months. She's required to be on the Smart Start mobile at 4 blows a day.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you. No further questions.
All right, let me run through this and make sure I don't miss anything. So Ms. Smith, in clause 677-660. The court accepts your plea of no contest, the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. I find you guilty. I said 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 14 months, a $600 fine plus court cost, 48 hours community service, DWI education program, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 7 months. And you're going to get credit for your proactive 8.5 hours of community service. State, what did I miss?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Kristen, what did I miss?
That's all, Your Honor.
We're good. Okay, Ms. Smith, do you have any questions on probation while we have Ms. Gross with us?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck to you. And thank you, Ms. Dow, and y'all are excused.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, let's see what we're doing with Ms. Salas. Ms. Salas, in clause 662578 to the charge of theft $100 to $750. How do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
Is there an agreement for Ms. Salas?
Yes, Your Honor. $100 fine, court costs, 8 months deferred adjudication, 24 hours community service, ATSE course, no contact order with Walmart stores.
And is that your understanding of the agreement, Mr. Munoz?
It is, Your Honor.
Ms. Salas, in cause 662-578, the court accepts your plea of no contest, although I have enough evidence to find you guilty. I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 8 months deferred adjudication probation, assess a $100 fine plus court cost, 24 hours community service, ATSE, anti-theft course. Already have no contact with Walmart stores during the term of your probation. Anything further from the state of the defense on Ms. Salas?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Nothing further from the defense, Judge.
Good luck, Ms. Salas. Thank you, Mr. Munoz. Y'all are excused.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, sir.
And let's see what we're doing with Ms. Lideke. Ms. Lideke, to the charge of theft, $100 to $750. How do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
Is there an agreement for Ms. Lideke? State, is there an agreement in this case?
Oh, I'm sorry, Judge. Yes, there is an agreement. It's for 6 months deferred adjudication, a $250 fine, plus court costs, 24 hours of community service, ATSE, and a no contact order with Walmart.
And Mr. Sandoval, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Judge.
Ms. Lideke, in cause 671-309, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of theft, $100 to $750. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you in 6 months deferred adjudication probation, assessing a $250 fine plus court cost, 24 hours community service, ATSE, anti-theft course, and order you have no contact with Walmart stores during the term of your probation. Anything further from the state of the defense on Ms. Lideke?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Good luck, Ms. Lideke. Thank you, Mr. Sandoval. Y'all are dismissed.
Thank you.
You bet. And state, you got a motion on, nope, that was Ms. Trevino. We're not doing her now. On, nope. You don't
We
know.
are ready on Mr. Vino now. We were late. Sorry, Judge.
You ready? Well, I haven't gone over the preliminaries with you yet, though, have I?
Oh, no.
But Your Honor, you have to sign the paperwork.
All right. Well, we're going to get back to you. Don't worry, Linda. All right. Now we're talking about Mr. Leckler. So, Mr. Leckler, in cause 626-306 for the charge of discharging a firearm in a community with a municipal population greater than 100,000 people. How do you plead, sir? Can you hear me, Mr. Leckler?
I believe he's on mute, Your Honor.
Oh, I can hear you now. Yes.
Paperwork says no contest. Is that what our plea is going to be, Mr. Stryker?
Mr. Leckler, can you hear the
Yes.
judge?
No. I was cut off. I assume that you asked, how do I plead? No contest.
All right. Thank you, sir. Is there an agreement for Mr. Leckler?
Yes, Your Honor. 16 months deferred adjudication, $450 fine, court costs, 48 hours community service, 18 of which is to be probated, APSE course, mental health evaluation, prohibition of firearms or ammunition, and motion to forfeit the weapon or alternatively destroy it.
State, from the state perspective, full knowing there may be other sides of this story, what does the state say happened in this case, plus or minus?
A firearm was discharged in an apartment.
Inside an apartment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Not in a parking lot or in a public place, inside an apartment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was it accidental, or what is the state side of this? And once again, Mr. Stryker, I'm going to want to hear from you in a minute.
State side is that it was not accidental.
All right, so what?
And Judge,
Stryker, I'm going to ask you at this time to explain what happened from the defense standpoint, if you would, please. So I understand what we're dealing with here.
Right, Judge. Even according to the report, the police were outside of an apartment of the apartment, heard what they thought was a gunshot, came into the apartment, and subsequently found a gun in the apartment of Mr. Leckler. And so, whether it was obviously the state has charged him with recklessly discharging the firearm, but there's no eyewitness as to whether it was reckless, intentional, or accidental or what have you.
Okay.
Obviously, I've gone over with Mr. Leckler our right to a jury trial and fighting the case all the way. But go ahead, Judge. You were about to say something.
Nobody was hurt. If there was
No,
any
Judge, absolutely
damage
nobody
to
was hurt.
property, it was his own property. Is that kind of where we're at?
No damage to property, Judge, at all.
Well, Judge, without getting into the weeds, there's a little more to this story. If the court is interested in
Sure, go ahead.
So law enforcement was dispatched for a possible disturbance when the officer was announcing himself and knocked on the door. He heard the gunshot come from within that apartment. It's the officer's position that it is undeniable that this defendant has discharged the firearm. There was one bullet in the chamber. Magazine was removed. They recovered the firearm, recovered the shell casing. So it's the state's position that this was not an accident. Furthermore, defendant failed to comply with officers' requests to show him his hands, and they needed to physically restrain him.
Okay, well, let me back up. Mr. Leckler and Mr. Stryker are here today to take responsibility, so it's not like they're trying to hide from us, so that's okay. Now, this was not a family violence incident in any manner, is that correct? There was
Not at all, Judge.
nobody else was with Mr. Leckler when the firearm was discharged?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I got it.
And Judge, just for the record, I just want to continue that. I've gone over the facts and law with Mr. Leckler, of course, our right to a jury trial and some of the issues in the case. And Mr. Leckler has chosen to plead no contest and take the state's offer. Is that still your position, Mr. Leckler?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
And state, do you have an objection instead of destroying this weapon, if I award it to defense counsel's additional attorney's fees with the understanding it's not to be returned to the defendant, his family, or his friends?
No objection to that, Your Honor.
Is that okay with you, Mr. Stryker?
Judge, I am court appointed in the case. And so it would not be, I don't want to step on any.
We're not
rules of
violating
ethics.
anything. We do this all the time. I just thought, if it's a decent gun, I don't want to destroy it. I understand why the state would not want the defendant to have access to it, but.
Right. Then that's okay. I just want to make it clear that I'm not asking for that in any way, Judge.
I understand. Okay, let me go through this and see if we got all the facts, all the agreement down here. Okay, Mr. Leckler, on clause 626-306, the court accepts your plea of no contest. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold the finding of guilt. Place you on 16 months, deferred adjudication, probation, assess a $450 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, probating 18 of those. The APSE stress management course, there's no such thing in my understanding as a mental health evaluation. Susan, we have competency evaluations, but I don't think that's what Mr. Stryker is indicating we need, right? Susan, is there such a thing as a mental health evaluation? I think what the state's looking for is to make sure that Mr. Leckler doesn't do this again, I'm guessing. State, would that be accurate?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Judge, we can do a basic evaluation like that. It will also include, the use of substances, et cetera, et cetera. It's almost like a TAP evaluation, but a little bit more extensive.
And so what do we call it? A mental health evaluation?
Yes, sir.
All right, no problem. And then no firearms purchase, possession, or use during the term of probation. And the defendant lives in Eagle Pass. Susan, do you want me to just allow him to report by Zoom to you from Eagle Pass? Would that be easiest?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is that okay with you, Mr. Stryker or Mr. Leckler?
Yes.
And
Yes,
the only
Judge.
thing is Mr. Leckler, you'll have to find an independent lab down there to do your monthly drug tests, or drive up to San Antonio. The choice would be yours.
And Judge, would he be permitted also to do the community service in Eagle Pass? I just want to make sure it's clear that, okay, great.
Yeah,
Any
no
classes,
problem.
anything else he's able to do in Eagle Pass and just submit it to his.
Worst case scenario, Mr. Stryker, you might need to call the CSCD or the probation department in whatever Maverick County, I'm guessing is where that is, and inquire as to where they get their UAs done and see if we can utilize that in some capacity. I don't know.
Yes, Judge.
We can.
One other thing, Judge, the state was not in objection to the $450 fine being probated. I am court appointed in the case. And so we would ask the $450 fine be probated. They had no objection to me asking that and requesting it.
All right, well, once again, if this is a plea bargain, I don't have the authority to do anything. State, do I have the authority to probate any of this fine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Out of the $450 fine, I'm gonna probate $150. Is that okay with the defense?
I would love to have the full amount be, but we'll take anything.
That's not gonna happen.
Yes,
Yeah,
Judge.
that's why they call it probation and all that stuff. You gotta pay the piper. All right, so that's what I got. Anybody got any questions? Mr. Leckler, do you understand what's going on, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. I don't, since this is going to be a deferred adjudication on a case like this, I don't personally, or the court doesn't have a problem with early termination. State, you have a problem with early termination? 16 months is a long time if he's done everything.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, that okay with you, Mr. Stryker? If, as, and when Mr. Leckler does everything he's supposed to do, he needs to get in contact with you and let you know. You let me know. I'll confirm it with the probation department, and we'll cut him loose with the state's permission.
That'd be great. Thank you, Judge.
All right. Good luck, Mr. Leckler. Thank you, Mr. Stryker. Y'all are dismissed.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Leckler, please call me this afternoon so we can debrief.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Huerta, call 649-540. Wait, state has a motion. State, motion away.
Yes, Judge. The state moves to waive the greater than 0.15 enhancement and proceed on DWI first.
No objection from the defense. That'll be granted. Therefore, Mr. Huerta, and call 649-540 to the charge of driving while intoxicated first offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
You're in agreement for Mr. Huerta and 649-540.
There is, Your Honor. It is for 180 days in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 14 months, a $600 fine, plus court costs, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CATSNIT, a drug offender education program, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, $60 to DPS for a lab, and the state will take into consideration cause number 616441.
And I missed something right after we talked about the Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program and the Smart Start Mobile. There was another program you wanted him to do?
That's right, Your Honor. It's the DOEP course.
Oh, DOEP, got it.
Yes, sir.
Defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
Mr. Huerta, and cause 649-540. The court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated first offense. I find you guilty. I said 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 14 months, a $600 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, DOEP, marijuana program, Smart Start Mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 7 months. Taking into consider, and $60 reimbursement to Texas Department of Public Safety for lab fee. Taking into consideration cost 616-441, which is granted, and it shall be dismissed. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Huerta?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Good luck, Mr. Huerta. Thank you, Mr. Cuellar. Y'all are dismissed.
Yes, Your Honor.
One quick thing, do not call the probation department today. They don't have your paperwork. The judge just finished with you. If you have not heard from them by next Wednesday morning, when you wake up, call them on Wednesday. Do not call them today. Judge, everybody that pled this morning, even after my instructions, has already called the probation department wanting to know why they haven't been called.
They're just eager to get this over with. I don't blame them.
I guess. So if you have not heard from them by next Wednesday, call them on Wednesday, not today, not tomorrow, not Monday or Tuesday, but Wednesday. Thank you.
Okay, I know that Ms. Corley's here and I'll get on that paperwork here shortly. Have we heard from Mr. Hernandez?
Mr. Hernandez is here, Your Honor, and I believe he wants to ask you a question.
Is Mr. Favila here?
Yes, he's in a breakout room, Your Honor.
Mr. Hernandez, can you hear us, sir? Oscar, are you with us?
He must be in another court, Your Honor. Oh,
He's
here.
good. He's coming on.
I'm here, Judge. I'm in another court, but I'm here as well.
Sure.
Okay, Evan Favila, plea paperwork has been extended. We're here for the second time set for a plea, and he and his mom are in the breakout room, and he's saying he needs additional time.
Your Honor,
Okay.
originally set March 31st. They came in and he had not signed paperwork and asked for this reset specifically.
So we've already had one reset. I don't understand, Ms. Hernandez. What's taking so much time?
You know, sir, mom's involved, and now all I get from him is I need more time to discuss, to think about it. That's all I'm being told. Maybe you can set us for an in-person hearing next time, Judge.
You want to do what now? I'm sorry?
Maybe you can just set it for an in-person hearing.
An in-person hearing? What does that mean?
For the plea. I mean, it just seems that.
Oh,
everybody just
in
jumps on
person
Zoom and
physically?
offers-
We may not be doing that for some time. I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm here roaming the halls this morning as well.
I don't know what else to do. I guess we just put you on the trial docket and work him in for like a couple of weeks from now, Pat. And if he wants to plead before that, that's okay. And if not, then he'll get his trial. Is that, Oscar, is that kind of all I can do at this point? I understand your hands are tied. It's not your fault.
I believe that's all we can do. Yes, Judge.
All right. So right now we're on 14th. So the 25th, Pat, how many cases do we have set on the 25th?
50.
50. State, would you look into if you can be ready on this case on the 25th? That'll give us 51 cases on Monday, the 25th.
I'll look into that, Your Honor.
And if you can't be ready, let us know and we'll just have to move it back. But I don't know what else we can do. We can't make somebody plead. That's just
No.
between them and their lawyer.
No. Okay, and Your Honor, Jeffrey Hull wants to come in to approach you on something. Are you okay with me letting him in?
He can come in, but I got to do Linda's plea first and I got to go sign her
Go
paper.
right ahead. It'll take me a while to get him settled.
Oscar, do you need anything else? You're all excused if that's the case. We just got you set for trial on April 25th at is it 9:30, Pat, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right. Anything comes up, Oscar, something changes, let us know.
Thank you, Judge. I'll jump in the breakout and explain it to him. Thank you so much.
Eddie, have you been able to talk to Sean Brown on Sekula? To find out if we're going or not?
Let me think. On Tatsikula.
This is the one that has the felony pending and is in jail.
Right. I need to talk to him about whether, yeah, I need to talk to him about the felony because felony would like to, do what we talked about last time.
Right.
But
The issue is this. I need to order him. If we are going forward, I have to do it today in order to order him for him to be there at 9:30. So I have to turn it in and give it to Larry by 3 o'clock today.
Okay. Let me call them right now then, or right after this.
Yeah, I just realized that he has to show up, so we need to know. You know what I mean?
Right. I understand. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate it. Eddie, if he says that he wants to go forward, since he's not representing it on the felony, please let him know that I'm ordering him. And that he needs to let the bailiff know whether he wants him dressed or not.
Gotcha. I'll let him know when I talk to him.
Yeah, because that's their responsibility.
Right. Okay.
Oh, and let me know if he is or isn't, because that's the other thing that I would need to document on the form, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, we ready to proceed? Linda, are you ready? If you need to stay on the phone for a little bit, we'll wait for you. You ready
No,
to go?
I'm good. I'm ready. You're number one, Judge, in my book.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Trevino. This is cause number 666493, State of Texas versus Lorena A. Trevino. The first document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference that purports to have both Ms. Trevino's and Ms. Corley's signature on it. In fact, Ms. Trevino, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. And Ms. Corley, as attorney for Ms. Trevino, is this your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Next document I have, Mr. Trevino, is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions that purports to have your signature on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, ma'am, is this your signature on this document also?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Thank you. By signing this document, are you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? Get any questions about what was on this document? Those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorney. So that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Corley, as attorney for Ms. Trevino, have you had enough time to go over this case with her? And in your opinion, is she mentally competent?
Yes, Your Honor, I have, and she is.
Thank you. Ms. Trevino, are you a United States citizen, ma'am?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Ms. Corley, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
Judge, I haven't received the discovery acknowledgement yet, but I have seen the index and I have received everything on the index, and I will sign that as soon as it is sent. I'm not aware of anything other than what's on the index.
Okay, thank you. And state, you have a motion on this case, it would appear.
Yes, Judge. The state moves to waive the greater than 0.15 enhancement and proceed on DWI first.
No objection from the defense, that will be granted. Therefore, Ms. Trevino, on cause 666493 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, ma'am?
No content, sir.
Is there an agreement for Ms. Trevino and 666493?
Yes, Judge. The agreement is for 180 days in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 18 months, an $850 fine, plus court costs, 55 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CatSnip, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, and restitution, if any, to the city of San Antonio.
Oh no, Ms. Corley, you don't have another client that hit a San Antonio police car, do you?
Just a tap, Judge, just a tap.
Okay.
And she's going to provide documentation. Her insurance is already taking care of it.
Wonderful. Is that your understanding of the agreement, Ms. Corley?
It is, Judge.
Ms. Trevino, and cause 666493. The court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. I find you guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 18 months, an $850 fine plus court costs, 55 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 9 months. And restitution, if any, to the city of San Antonio. If they come back and say that Ms. Trevino owes the city of San Antonio $2.5 million, we can have a restitution hearing and see if Ms. Corley can knock that down a little bit.
Thank you, Judge.
Anything further from the state or the defense on Ms. Trevino?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Nothing from defense, Your Honor.